Tonight, we shoot a gun so weird they called it the Alien. I hold a sign. Things get a little crazy. It's all happening now on the 1911 Syndicate. To name your gun the Alien, you'd have to assume it's fairly weird. And you'd be right. But there's good weird and just straight up weird. So which is the Laugo? Think of the Alien as a hybrid between a 1911 and an HK-P7. It operates on a gas piston delayed blowback system. It also features the lowest bore access of any pistol in the world, or perhaps any world. Combined with its spectacular trigger and non-reciprocating red dot and fixed barrel, you've got a recipe for an insanely fast and accurate gun, which means we must shoot it.
Okay, everyone, we're here. We're talking about the Laugo Alien. Tons of distractions. We have beautiful sunsets, and we have Utah hoodlums doing donuts here in the location that we're at, and it's just all a freaking party, and some of which we will have to talk about as we go.
Definitely.
Talking about the Laugo Alien. Very fascinating pistol. And I'm going to kind of open with this. The Alien is a gun that generates a lot of passionate responses from people.
Really?
Yes. Okay, so there's some people that they're going to see it, and they're going to be like, it's the coolest thing that's ever been made. There's gonna be people that are gonna see it and they're gonna be like, that's so stupid, why would anyone ever spend $6,000 on one of these kits? And you'll get these polar opposite ends of the spectrum. Okay. My commentary to that is, I often wonder, how many of you have actually spent any time with one?
Probably not very, not a lot. It's much like a lot of reviews where there's some negativity. It's probably people that have never had time behind the gun.
Or even seen one in person. Like,
sure.
These aren't common.
Sure.
Like, these aren't common. These aren't just, it's not a Glock 19, you know? So it's like, I doubt how many people with their passionate opinions have any time whatsoever on the thing, other than they've watched some YouTube videos and that's where they got their opinion from. So I'm gonna tell you this, I'd rank the Laugo Alien one of the most fascinating pistols of the last 10 years. I think it's very interesting, and it does some very, very cool stuff. Is it perfect? No, but you know, we're gonna kind of weigh out pros and cons and a little bit of that. I would also say, sure, there's other reviews out there on this, and to some degree, at the risk of maybe sounding a little bit egotistical, even though it's not meant that way, is I think that there's an interesting, so I've been the one shooting that. Chris shot some rounds today, but it's like, as the one who's primarily been shooting that, I feel like I have a little bit of an interesting perspective to lend just because of my relationship with 2011s, which would at the end of the day probably be the best competitor to that, right?
Okay.
Essentially, a race gun, a competition gun.
Sure.
Right? So it's like, okay, well, I have a lot of time on that, so I feel like maybe I have something to contribute to the conversation on the Alien. Now, So we'll go through a bunch of different stuff in the video. There'll be, you know, a couple maybe twists and turns as we go. Relationship with Laugo, none whatsoever. The gun was actually sent to us by one of our Patreon subscribers. Also, shameless plug. Check that out if you like. But so it was lent to us by one of our Patreon subscribers. We don't typically do a lot of like loaned gun videos like that anymore for a variety of reasons we won't get into. But this is one where I was like, I don't see myself ever buying that. I don't know that they're ever going to send me one to review. So sure, why not? In the subsequent time, I have reached out to Laugo, both their European division and US division. I've gotten no reply. So when I say I have no relationship, I mean, I got nothing. I didn't even get a reply when I tried to just ask them some questions about the gun. So
strange.
Also, hey, gun marketing marketing departments, you know, maybe do better. Okay, before we get into it, quick thanks to Ciguera.
Ciguera,
right?
the belts.
Rocking that damn thing.
The belts.
Yeah, a couple different models. They got their battle wagon for those of you boys that run battle belt. You're a battle belt guy.
Yeah, I like battle belts. I run the battle wagon, but I run it on top of my inner light belt, which is also like an everyday carry belt. Yeah. I think you wear that also.
It's on me currently. It legitimately is my EDC belt.
Does it allow for movement of the hips?
It does, and I'll tell you, so much of what I like as Utah just pops off over there is it's actually not overly complicated. It's actually a very simple belt. And at the end of the day, that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Yep, simple, does the job.
Don't try to make this shit any more complicated.
1911 Syndicate, save you a couple bucks, guys. Go support our boys.
Yeah. Okay, as we start talking about the Laugo here, let's go through some fundamentals. Laugo is based out of the Czech Republic, and what I find very interesting about it, so on the side of the gun, so these are made in Prague, but it doesn't even say Czech Republic. It says Czechoslovakia on the side of the gun, like straight old school.
Cool.
I'm like, all right, man,
Is that a statement?
I don't know. It's almost like if you put Soviet Union on your gun versus Russia.
Or like USSR.
Yeah.
Right?
Or you're just like, okay, Czechoslovakia. Like, oh shit, I don't know if there's something there. Maybe I'm making something out of nothing, but I did find it interesting. The gun came out in 2019. SHOT Show 2020 was sort of its debut to the world. To be honest, I actually thought it had been out longer than that, but it wasn't. It won like Best in SHOT Show or something like that the first year it came out.
Well, 2020 SHOT Show was lacking. So
yeah, I think they had it, but that was like the last year that they had it.
Yeah.
So anyway, it is fundamentally different than virtually any other pistol you guys have ever shot. So it is a gas piston delayed blowback system instead of like a Browning tilted barrel design.
Yeah.
Okay. So virtually everything that you're used to shooting, this is just a fundamentally different thing.
Very much so.
Okay. So the closest thing that this is, and it may actually be the exact same system, I'm unclear because again, I couldn't get in touch with Laugo. Do you know what this is actually the closest to?
No.
HK P7.
Okay, I figured it was going to be some sort of HK gun, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
Piston makes sense.
So
right,
I think
P7.
it might be the exact same system as the P7.
Very similar.
It's very similar.
Recoil
and it might
close.
actually be the exact same system. Okay, again, because I couldn't really get any clarity from Laugo, I'm a little uncertain on this, but essentially it's like a self-regulating piston system is going to be the best way that I describe it. Like it's going to kind of adjust itself based on ammo. So in theory, you're going to kind of have the same experience regardless of ammo. Can't really hold me to the fire on that because again, didn't get the answers, but that's my kind of interpretation of it. Because it is a piston system, one of the things you're gonna have to deal with on the Alien is heat. We're certainly not the first people to say that. We won't be the last. The gun gets hot because it is a piston system, and the reality is the piston sits right next to the frame.
Yep.
It's sitting like right on top of it. So the gun will get hot. How hot? The threshold's about 5 mags.
Quickly.
Yeah. Like pretty rapid fire. I'm sending it on 5 mags, and there you go. Okay, cool. Let's let this thing chill out for a little.
What is that? 75 rounds?
Yeah.
Something right?
Yeah, roughly. Okay. Ballpark. Yeah. So yeah, that's about your sweet spot. So I think the heat is probably a little overblown on the Laugo because one of the most likely places you would see this is inside of a competition where the one competition we did down at Infinity, we shoot 30, 35 rounds per stage.
Yeah.
And then you got like an hour to kill.
Sure.
So it's like the heat's kind of a non-issue.
Sure, I agree.
You know, I think people overhype it just a tad, but it's like, does it get hot? Yeah, it does. Don't think you're gonna go do a 500 round torture test on this in an hour. It's not gonna happen. Like you're gonna be scorched. So lowest bore axis of any pistol in the world.
In the world?
Well, that's what they say, and I'm going to go based on what they say. Lowest bore axis in the world.
Okay.
I believe it's true. And we'll show you a clip a little bit later on in terms of, actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and put this in. We're going to go ahead and show you a clip of this thing when it was disassembled earlier and just kind of show you the internals of it.
Cool.
Okay, so we were not planning on breaking down the gun today, but while it's broken down, we may as well show you kind of mechanically what makes it interesting. And just a note, the only reason this is being broken down, the gun is not per se having an issue, but the reality is we are standing on salt, a vastness of salt. And this is the second time we've done a video out here. Both times it virtually kills the guns. This environment will simply kill anything that you put in it. No mag has touched the ground today. The gun has not touched the ground today, but we think it's just the peripheral salt in the air, if you will.
You can taste it.
Yeah, you can. We're doing some TLC, try to get the gun back up and running. But what is interesting about this is, so as mentioned, like it runs on a piston. So one thing with this, if you really look at, okay, how is the bore axis the lowest bore axis in the world? That's where the barrel is in relation to your hand. So if you see, I mean, like, look, this is where your tiny explosion is coming from. And I mean, it's literally almost completely in line with your wrist in the meat of your hand. And then this, basically right here, this is your little piston system. So basically that goes in there, right? So, although I'm a little off, yeah, there you go. Right, so that's basically how this guy runs. And then the top slide portion is just this. So that is the portion that does not reciprocate with the dot, and there is the hammer itself. So where you think this is a striker fired gun, because you look at the trigger and it looks like a Glock, it's not. This is the hammer. This is the hammer that's actually making the gun go off. And so there's that, and then of course this is the portion of the slide that is actually reciprocating. So I mean, it's very, very fascinating. And I mean, it really makes sense why the recoil and the bore axis and everything is just so kind of mind-blowing, because you look at how this thing works and it doesn't work like anything else.
So one of the things with the bore axis, in terms of like reciprocating mass, is that the dot does not reciprocate. Right now you'll see, right, the slide's back, dot is stationary. So as everything's clear that way. So as this slide is reciprocating, the dot is not going anywhere. In fact, the whole top portion of the slide is not going anywhere. It's just those sides,
just the sides
that are moving. So it is very, very little reciprocating mass.
And the mass is literally straight back and straight forward to the best that you can explain and feel.
Yeah.
Right? Like middle of my palm here is where I felt it.
Yes. Okay. Right. So, and we're going to get into that more kind of as we start talking about shooting. No. You're exactly right. We'll get into it with shooting experience stuff. So the red dot footprint, as best I can tell, is only compatible with their dot. And their dot is its own thing. Yeah. So like this is like their dot. I don't really know what it is. I
just came on the gun.
Yeah, okay. I don't believe it's an RMR footprint. I think that is the dot you're stuck with if you're gonna run this. That said, the dot seems solid. I haven't had any issues with it. Big window, crisp dot. So I don't really have any issues with it. It's just...
We don't know the track record.
I think you might be married to that dot.
Okay.
So if you're like, oh, that'd be dope, run an acro on it or something, it's like, don't hold your breath on that one. I think there might actually be some sort of aftermarket adapter.
I'm sure there's a plate someone's invented.
I believe there is, but it like kind of, you know what it is? It winds up reciprocating. That's what it is. Yeah. So it changes like the whole mechanics, if I remember right. Is that like, hey, you can use different dots, but now the whole thing's going to be reciprocating. Okay. So kind of a trade-off there. So there's an interchangeable top slide. So this kit that we've got here also comes with this top slide. Okay. That's your iron sights one. Just has a fiber front, blacked out rear.
Yeah.
And so you can pop that off if you want to run irons, if you want to run a red dot. Depending on which kit you get, it's going to determine how this thing comes set up. But it's like, and it's very quick. We're not going to show disassembling this on camera because that's like suicide on YouTube. But it is very quick and it's very straightforward, actually. So I'm going to tell you this. One of the first things I figured out when I got this was, this is not a gun for tactical application. Okay. Why do you think I would say that?
Probably because it heats up?
Not really, actually.
No? Why?
If you have a malfunction, you can't tap rack anything.
This is true. Yeah.
Can't, because the top of the slide doesn't move.
Well, you'd have to do it on the side with your shoe, which is why there's probably aggressive serrations, and that's probably what they would argue.
Even that, I mean, you would have to be, but you have to like, firmly grasp these serrations and pull back, right? And you go, and that's also assuming the gun's not really hot now, which the gun's really hot, and now you're trying to specifically grab this thing and pull it back. You're like, this is kind of tough for tactical application because clearing malfunctions would be a nightmare. Now, let me blow your mind, because I'm going to discredit everything that I just said. Dun, dun, dun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just said my actual opinion. This is not a gun for any sort of tactical application. Now, I'm in the gym one day, kind of funny story. So I'm in the gym one day, and I see Mike Pannone in there. Okay, and me and Pannone go to the same gym. And I see him in there, and I'm like, man, you ever shot the Alien? I'm like, I'm really kind of digging this thing. And he's like, you know, I shot like 5 rounds at SHOT Show, which is the same experience I had and you had on it. A few rounds at SHOT Show. And he goes, you know, Zelensky's security detail just got issued those? And I was like, no fucking way, dude. In my head, I'm going, Mike, I trust you, but I'm going, and I want to disagree with you right now, but I'm like, there's no way that shit's true. And I messaged him earlier, and I was like, later, and I was like, is that reliable info? And he did classic Mike response, yes. That was it. That was the whole response. Yes. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I was like, man, I got to have some way of verifying this. So I just typed it in Google.
And it'd pop up.
You see the photos of it.
Get out of here.
Zelensky's security detail is running Laugo Aliens, which means your tax dollars are buying $6,000 aliens for Ukrainian security details. That's the most insane thing I've ever heard. You can go look it up, just type it in Google. Like, it pops up immediately. You're like, dude, are you kidding me right now?
I mean, with how much money we've sent over there, I'm surprised that we're not sending them infinities or something. So
damn near same price, but you're just like, okay, one, that's so insulting to us. We're picking up the bill for it. Unless Lago's donating them, which I doubt.
Highly doubt.
But two, it's just like, there's a part of me, the romanticism part of me is just like, I think it's hilarious that the security detail is carrying race guns. I think it's hilarious. Like, I mean, it's just like, can you imagine those headlines? Like, dude tries to get to the president and gets burned down with a Laugo Alien. You're just like, dude, this is insane. Okay, next, the trigger. Trigger weight, I'm gonna tell you it's approximately 3 pounds. I don't really think they rated on the site. I'm gonna ballpark it at 3 pounds, could be a tad less, could be slightly sub 3 or around 3, but it is spectacular.
It is a nice trigger.
It's spectacular.
Yeah.
It's absolutely phenomenal.
The reset is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
There's no wall, or there's no creep. It's instant wall.
It really is, in my mind, a pretty much perfection on a trigger.
Yeah.
That's as good as a trigger can get. I would rank that right up there with like my top tier 2011 triggers that I've fucked with, you know?
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. You see the trigger safety on it.
Yeah.
On the trigger safety, and you go, oh, it's like a Glock trigger, so you go, it's a striker fire thing. It's not. It's a hammer fired gun. Based on that clip when we just showed you guys that.
Yeah.
But it's trippy because you look at this and it looks like a striker fire gun, right?
Absolutely it does.
You go, well, of course it's striker fire gun. But then you're mind blown because you're like, exactly. You see the little loaded indicator and everything, but you're like, how did they get a striker fire trigger to be that good? Well, it's not. It's just an internal hammer system. It's
pretty cool.
On that top slide where you're like, man, look, again, when we talk about innovation, I mean, it's unarguable. It's unarguable at that point. So 4.8-inch barrel, very specific. It's a fixed barrel, so it's extremely accurate. It's like mounted to the frame, so like, hey, the barrel does not come out. Very, very accurate gun. The grip angle, it was okay. So let's see how to do this. We're gonna come back to this. We have a different opinion on the grip angle. You like it?
I dig it. As soon as I present the gun, it's right there. It's very similar to a CZ.
Okay.
Those CZ race guns with the orange or blue grips.
Uh-huh.
What is that? The Shadow 2. Yep.
Okay.
CZ Shadow 2. Very similar grip angle, even lower though. I mean, as soon as I bring it up, it's right in line for me.
So my theory on that is because you shoot a lot of Glocks. Because that is vastly different than a 1911 grip angle.
I mean, I haven't shot a Glock in a very long time. I think I'm just a better shooter than you. So
I think your wrist must just bend in a weird direction.
I mean, it's just at a perfect angle.
So everyone that shot that gun with me, minus you today, has been like, where's the dot? Like, oh, wow, you really got to exaggerate low to pick up the dot.
Oh, dude, I just bring it straight up and we're good.
Okay, so I did not have that experience.
Yeah.
I'm used to shooting 1911, 2011s, which have, in my opinion, a far superior grip angle to the Alien. And I really struggle picking up the dot on that. You get it, but it usually takes me a few reps to get it. And everyone else I've shot it with had that same opinion.
Oh, dude, I picked it right up and started
and you did,
slinging
which
with
is why it was fascinating. I was like, oh, wow, that's the first time
I'm just
I've
a better
heard that.
shooter. It's okay to say that.
Well, so anyway, in my opinion, the grip angle is actually the weak point of the gun, but Chris really likes it. So,
I dig it.
Hey, pick your poison.
Man hands.
So 17 round mags. Unfortunately, these are their own. This is their own thing.
Oh,
These
proprietary
mags. So
okay.
it's like, and it only comes with 3 of them. So hey, and unfortunately, they're $100 a piece.
Excuse me?
I know. They're $100 a piece. So if you need to get 3 extra bags, like $300, like shit.
Well,
The
it's not
mag
only that.
prices.
What's your rule? 10 mags per gun, right?
On a serious gun, yeah.
You're going to spend 1/6 the cost of the gun on mags.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough on the mag price. You know,
Man, that's a real bummer for
I
that
was really
gun.
kind of shocked. I was like, $100? Like, ouch. Ouch. So the price is $5,000 to $6,000 depending on the kit. This one retails for $6,000. It comes with the 2 slides, the red dot. It actually comes with a holster. It literally comes with cleaning supplies and tools. I mean, it comes with everything.
Question for you.
Yes.
I mean, you might be getting to it. Is there a package that ships with a threaded barrel?
No, I don't think they have a threaded barrel for it. I don't believe so.
Because that would be dope.
It would. I don't think it exists. I haven't seen it.
You would direct thread a can on there, no reciprocation. Like that thing would be.
It'd be kind of cool. Yeah.
I bet it'd be quiet too.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the piston might kind of mitigate some of that.
Anyways,
sorry,
sidetrack. Sorry about
science.
that. Sorry about that.
Okay, before we move any further, if you guys are looking for ways to support the 1911 Syndicate, go to the website 1911syndicate.com. You can go pick up merch on there.
We got a bunch of merch.
We got hoodies. They'll be it might be out by this point.
Out by now.
Actually, really good. Really happy with the way the hoodies came out. But we got the Patreon 1911 Syndicate. Never forget, as a real estate company, that's what we do. That's the main way that we keep the lights on. So anywhere in the U.S. that you guys want to buy or sell a house, let us know.
Especially Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah. Hey, Utah's cool too.
Nope.
Minus today. Okay, so let's give you some thoughts, talk a little bit about performance. So we're gonna go ahead and kind of open with this. Filming days have this weird karmic bitch thing that happens where a gun that's never had any issues and you're like, can't wait to go film the video today. And then you just...
It shits the bed.
And you're just like, what the hell, man? Like what the hell? So
it seems like a joke almost, guys. We have footage of it. We are just as upset as you guys about this stuff because we've spent a lot of time doing this.
Yeah. So
right?
what we're gonna do, one of the sections we were gonna do is filming Chris shooting his first rounds. And so we'll go ahead and roll a little bit of that now so you can see some of the malfunction that we're having. Okay, so Chris has not shot the gun yet, minus a handful of rounds at SHOT Show, like myself prior. Hopefully everything runs smooth. We're having a little bit of quirkiness that we're trying to figure out here. But anyway, just we're gonna film Chris on camera shooting for the first time, just kind of, you know, just that first experience. It's such a unique gun. Just wanted to see what do you think.
Birthday bump. I dig that already. Good to go. Huh. Dude, it is... The recoil is literally straight back, straight forward.
So there you go. So that's the first big observation.
Oh.
Ah, damn
it. You got a malfunction.
Okay, everyone. So we'll go ahead and address this because very confusing.
Mag.
We started having this pretty consistently, and truthfully, we thought, look, did it bump forward?
A little bit. Okay.
And there it goes. So let's shoot a couple more rounds, and then we'll address it if it happens again.
Another thing, too, is it points perfectly.
Really? Okay, so
like with where my thumbs are is where the dot is.
Believe it or not, I totally disagree.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We'll litigate that later. Shit.
There we go.
Okay.
So
here's what's going on, everyone. We thought it was the environment because, I mean, if you take a look around, we're not really in the wilderness. We're in the wilderness of salt right now. So we thought it was just sort of the salt that's in the air, even though we haven't dropped any mags on the ground or anything like that. But there's something in there that's getting hung up and we can't figure out what it is.
Yeah, and it's near kind of this front half of the slide.
Yeah, yep. It's odd. And we're having and so we completely...
Oh, I was bumping it fairly hard.
And we completely took the gun apart because we thought, oh, it's just dirty, needs oil. We cleaned it, put oil on it, and 20 rounds later it was doing this. So it's like, it's not because the gun's dirty. It's not. Shit.
There we go.
Damn.
So.
Well, Well, this really throws a wrench in the old review. Yeah, it's something's getting caught.
Yep. Okay.
Damn. Okay, so this time, just for shits and giggles, run a different mag.
Okay.
It's not a mag issue, but... And that's what I have, where it went like total lock.
Okay.
Ooh, I don't even know if that's going to cycle. You're still not in battery, though.
Yeah, I am.
Are you?
Yep. Yeah, it's flush on the back.
Okay. I saw a light gap at the front, so I thought it was...
Again.
Yeah, it's happened on all three mags at this point. Okay. Well, everyone, we're going to do this. We're going to cut from this portion of the video and figure out...
Hey.
Yeah, she's locked up.
Yep.
And even pulling back. If you try to pull back, I bet it's pretty...
Oh, there we go. Oh, now.
No. Damn. Okay.
Huh.
Well, we'll cut this portion of the video, everyone. This is not really how we intended for this to go, but we'll pause here and resume in a moment. Okay, so we can't really figure out what it is. There clearly seems to be something that's getting hung up on the slide.
Yep.
Because, look, we disassembled the gun. That's the footage we showed you earlier. We thought, oh, the gun's just dirty and salty.
In this environment.
We'll clean it, throw oil on it, and within 15 rounds, the same thing was happening. So, look, we don't know what it is. It's a real bummer because I've not had a single issue prior to today, and it's just like, man.
And how many rounds did you say you think you're at?
I think prior to today, 700 to 800.
Okay.
Yeah, so, you know, including everything today, you know, it's probably at 1,000, and it was like...
No issues.
It had probably 500 to 800 on it from our buddy that sent it out. So you're just like, hey, the gun's somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,500 rounds right now. No issues. And you're just like, damn, I don't know what to tell you. I think it is a real consideration on a gun like this, and it's something that...
It's a real bummer.
Well, what you have to consider on a gun like this is, okay, if a gun like that goes down that's so proprietary and foreign, even though they have Laugo USA as the importer, you go, and I guess the answer is we're about to find out, but it's like, okay, how does it go when you need to service your gun?
Yeah.
Like, is it easy? Is the customer service terrible? I didn't hear back when I messaged them.
The doc is hopefully going to tell us.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, we'll find out, because it's like something's off there. It's not ammo, it's not mags, and it's not cleanliness. Something's off, and I guess we're going to find out. So if we, you guys are welcome to ask us in the comments if we found out what's going on. If we know the answer, we'll comment. If we don't, we're probably like, hey, we don't know what the issue was at this point. So anyway, that kind of is what it is. It doesn't mean it's a bad gun. It just means, hey, man, it had some sort of rough day today, and I don't really know what to tell you. Beyond that, I'll still give you my thoughts, which is, I don't know that there's a faster gun on the market.
Yeah. Yeah,
okay, and you unfortunately didn't get to experience it really burning it down.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, the speed at which you can run this damn gun is pretty spectacular.
Equivalent to like your Infinity or?
We were going to do a section today where we were going to put my Infinity on a stop clock or shot timer against this on a standard set of drills. And we were going to track split times and all that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, we started having malfunctions before that, so we didn't get to do it. But my theory was that I actually believe I can run this faster than my Infinity. Now, I don't know if it was going to prove out, and we won't know at this point, but it was like, God, I feel like my splits and everything could actually be faster. Because part of what it is the gun is so forgiving to... Man, I almost struggle, and I'm going to describe it the way I'm going to describe it. Tell me if you agree with this based on your limited experience. So people talk about this gun having, like, no recoil.
Correct.
They're like, the gun doesn't move. I actually totally disagree with it, with like a caveat. The gun doesn't recoil in a format that you're used to experiencing.
Yes.
Guns recoil like this, right?
Yep.
And this gun recoils like this.
Straight back.
Yes. Right? Which is a combination of, you know, piston and just the way the mass moves and all that kind of stuff. It moves straight back into your hand.
Yeah.
So I actually describe it as, it's actually a pretty violent shooting experience.
I would say I noticed right out the gate it was a lot of recoil, but it's straight back.
Yes.
So
it's
like
into your hand.
Into your hand, into your wrist, like
yeah.
I don't know, I could shoot that gun
So you're just
flat.
like taking it like this versus dealing with upward recoil mitigation.
Yeah.
Damn. You know, that one.
You're just taking it, trying to mitigate the upper recoil. Oh my gosh. Are you all right?
It's late. Everyone, there's been a storm.
Dude, a Freudian slip if I've ever seen one. My gosh.
Apologies to the family. You guys watching this with your kids. Kids, stay in school, man. Stay in school. I don't know. The moral of the story is the gun comes back into your hand, okay? And don't take it. Don't take anything. Stand up for yourself. You know, no bully-free zone around here. But what's so crazy about the way that it recoils is it's no comps, it's no ports.
Yeah.
It's just driving back into your hand. And, you know, Atlas Gunworks has this thing, they talk about the perfect return to zero or something like this. Their notion is that the gun just perfectly returns to zero. This does that better than any gun I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have the dot move out of the window, not once.
Not once. And truthfully, it for me, the shooting experience can best be described comparing it to like an open gun. In the sense of, look, it's fast as shit. It's violent as hell. It just returns so perfectly that you can run the piss out of it.
It's violence in a different motion.
Yes.
Right? Open guns up, this gun straight back. But I'll give you that. That's a fair comparison.
Yeah. And it's very tough to describe. And that's why when people come out with their big opinions on this, it's like, have you shot it, though? Because I'm telling you, it's a different world to shoot that gun. It does recoil. It recoils totally different than what you're used to experiencing.
Yeah.
So I'll just say, hey, look, you know, it is in my mind still a gamer gun. I still would not want it for any sort of tactical application, but I'm not in Ukraine.
Nope.
You know, so what do I know?
You don't know anything.
So in many ways, I kind of wrote out a little thing here. I'm like, look, in many ways, the Alien is a victim of its own success. I'm going to kind of tell you what I mean by that is that take 2011s. If someone said, hey, I'm thinking about getting an Infinity. I'm just going to use Infinity, right?
Sure.
Thinking about getting an Infinity, like this pinnacle of like this performance race gun. I've got a staccato. You go, okay, you have a baseline experience of what it's going to be like to experience an Infinity. You just go, take everything you know about the staccato, make all of it better and faster and more refined. That's going to be what an Infinity is like to shoot.
Okay.
Here's the problem. Yeah. There's no way to get a sense for what that's going to be like.
No.
There's no cheaper version that exists. And the reality is, most of you
of its own.
And most of you are never actually going to find one to go test shoot before you have to commit to spending $6,000 on one.
And resale after that, if you don't like it, yeah, I mean, it compiles to how difficult that
So it's this put up or shut up moment.
Sure.
Where you're like, look, you're either going to go cold turkey, throw down $6,000, or you have to totally stay out of the waters.
Well, and hopefully a review like this helps direct some people into what their decision might be.
Yeah. And I would kind of leave you with this, which is some of you, I know, are going to ask in the comments, because you didn't make it this far in the video, you're going to say, so do I get that or a 2011? Well, if you're asking that question, I'm going to assume you don't have either, in which case 100% get a 2011.
Yeah.
Non-debatable.
Yeah.
Get a 2011. Yeah. In part because there's room to grow there. You can go get the staccato.
Well, support and a bunch of
aftermarket support, mags and everything, but it's like you can advance through the tiers of 2011 to get to that pinnacle place.
Sure.
This is one and done.
Yep.
Right? And so if you're asking, should I get a 2011 or this, go get a 2011. Now, if you've got 4 or 5 2011s and you're like, I'm thinking about getting the Alien and another 2011, I'd tell you to probably go get the Alien. The malfunction thing, I believe, will be fixed. That it puts a little bit of a bad taste on the whole thing, but it's like I believe that will be fixed. But I would be like, hey, go get the Alien, dude, because you've had all your fun with 2011. So it's like, go get something crazy and wild and fast, and I think you're going to enjoy the hell out of it.
Yeah.
But it's like,
I think that's fair.
But kind of the ultimate point that leads me to is, this is not an either or gun. Do I buy this or do I buy that? It's a, hey,
on your list somewhere, once you've checked a lot of boxes and had some experience.
Checked a lot of boxes, trying to have fun, get some crazy pistol. Alien does a great job of that.
Sure, I agree.
Does a great job of that. And I've enjoyed the hell out of shooting one of these, and I really want one. Just unfortunately had a rough day today. But again, hey, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt on that. It's not to say that the problem doesn't exist, just to say I'm going to assume that it will be handled appropriately.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
That.
Yeah.
So,
now say you ever had to use this.
Well, say you were on Zelensky's security detail.
And there's a justified scenario where you got to burn someone down.
Yes.
You might want to have FLP.
Yeah. No, they don't cover Ukraine, everyone, so don't go too nuts.
This is if stateside, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So, but FLP, Firearms Legal Protection, they are concealed carry insurance and overall self-defense insurance. If, you use a bat, as long as it's legally justified, they're going to cover you. They have multiple plans. Our code 1911 will save you about 1/3 off each plan. I have a family plan that allows me to travel. He's got the single lonely man plan.
Single man plan.
Yeah, it fits our lives well. Yeah. So check them out. Thanks for their support. Thanks, guys.
See you next time.